माधव कुंज विहारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी।
गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
गोपीजनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन।
यशोदनंदन व्रज जनरंजन।
यमुना तीरावनचारी।
तीरावनचारी।
जय राधा माधव जय बिहारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी।
Prabhuji, some disturbance coming from your or somebody's mic.
Maybe mine, Maharaj. Now?
No, continuously coming. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev Sripad, Gurudev Sripad. जय गुरु महाराज शिला श्रीपाद की जय, जगत गुरु शिला प्रभुपाद की जय, श्री गौर निताय की जय, श्री लक्ष्मी नरसिंहदेव भगवान की जय, श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की जय, जय जय श्री श्री राधा माधव की। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। प्रभु जी, कैन यू प्लीज अनम्यूट अदर्स? Allow others to unmute and repeat.
They are free to.
Okay, please, all of you, please unmute and repeat. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam Namaskritya
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswati Vyasam
Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu
Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Bhagavati Uttama Sloke
Bhagavati Uttama Sloke
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 2, Text number 32. 32, correct. Rudatyauchairudayitangri pankajam. Please repeat, all of you please repeat. रुदत्य उच्चैर्दयिताङ्घ्रि पङ्कजम्
पंकजम
सिञ्चत्य अस्रै कुचकुङ्कुमारुणै विस्रस्तकेशाभरणा नृणाम् सृजन्त्य आक्रन्दनया विलेपिरे As the queens loudly cried, their tears glided down their breasts, becoming reddened by kunkuma powder, and fell upon the lotus feet of their husband. Their hair became disarrayed. Their ornaments fell, and in a way that evoked sympathy from the hearts of others. The queens began lamenting their husband's death. Please repeat. As the queens loudly cried, their tears glided down their breasts. Some disturbance coming from somebody. Becoming reddened by kunkuma powder. And fell upon the lotus feet of their husband. Their hair became disarrayed. Their ornaments fell. And in a way that evoked sympathy. From the hearts of others. The queens began lamenting their husband's death. So all of you repeat, even if you are muted, it will be good. Text number 33. Aho vidatra karunena na prabho bhavan pranito driggagocharan dasam usinarnam asi vrittida pura kruto dhunayena sucham vivardanaha. Aho vidatra karunena na prabho. Please repeat.
Aho vidatra karunena na prabhu
Bhavan pranito driggagocharam dasam
Bhavan pranito driggagocharam dasam
Usinarnam asi vrittida pura Krutadhunayena sucham vivardanaha. Translation. O Lord, you have now been removed by cruel providence to a state beyond our sight. You had previously sustained the livelihood of the inhabitants of Usinara, and thus they were happy. But your condition now is the cause of their unhappiness. Please repeat. O Lord, you have now been removed by cruel providence to a state beyond our sight. You had previously sustained the livelihood of the inhabitants of Usinara, and thus they were happy. But your condition now is the cause of their unhappiness. Text number 34. Tvaya krutagnena vayam mahipate
त्वया कृतज्ञेन वयं महीपते
Katam vinasyama suhruttame nate.
कथं विनास्यामः सुहृत्तमेन ते
Tatranuyanam tava veerapadayo.
तत्रानुयानां तव वीरपादयो
Susrushatinam disayatra yasyasi.
शुश्रूषादीनां दिशयत्र यस्यसि
यस्यसि
Translation. O king, O hero, you are a great, grateful husband and the most sincere friend of all of us. How shall we exist without you? O hero, wherever you are going, please direct us there so that we may follow in your footsteps and engage again in your service. Let us go along with you. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Acha, you have not repeated, right? Please repeat. O king,
O king,
O hero,
O hero,
you are a very grateful husband
you are a very grateful husband,
and the most sincere friend of all of us.
the most sincere friend of all of us.
How shall we exist without you?
How shall we exist without you?
O hero,
O hero,
wherever you are going,
wherever you are going,
please direct us.
please direct us.
Please direct us there
Please direct us there
so that we may follow in your footsteps
so that we may follow in your footsteps
and engage again in your service.
and engage again in your service.
Let us go along with you.
Let us go along with you.
Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Formerly, a Kshatriya king was generally the husband of many wives. And after the death of the king, especially in the battlefield, all the queens would agree to accept Sahamarna, dying with the husband who was their life. When Pandu Maharaj, the father of Pandavas, died, his two wives, namely mother of Yudhishthira, Bhima and Arjuna, and the mother of Nakula and Sahadeva, were both ready to die in the fire with their husband. Later, after a compromise was arranged, Kunti stayed alive to care for the little children, and the other wife, Madri, was allowed to die with her husband. This system of Sahamarana continued in India even until the time of British rule, but later it was discouraged since the attitude of wives gradually changed with the advancement of Kali Yuga. Thus, the system of Sahamarana was practically being abolished. Nevertheless, within the past 50 years, I have seen the wife of a medical practitioner voluntarily accept the death immediately when her husband died. Both the husband and wife were taken in procession in the mourning cart. Such intense love of a chaste wife for her husband is a special case. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Gnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. So, Hiranyakashipu is pacifying his nephews, mothers, and other relatives from the death of Hiranyaksha. So therefore, he is now relating a story in this connection, how body is temporary and how we are all meeting like people meet in a restaurant for recreation. Similarly, all of us in this material world, we are meeting together for recreation, nothing else. Bhoga vancha kari. We are all here for recreation. So all the relationships, all the friends, relatives, or whatever status we maintain, whatever we are working, at the end of the day, the purpose is recreation here in this world. So it's because we have forgotten Krishna. So in the absence of Krishna, this is the natural place for our shelter, material world. Material world is the place where Krishna hides himself from the sight of the people so that they can enjoy thinking Krishna doesn't exist or not having to serve him. So this world is nothing but like a restaurant. Very nice example given by Hiranyakashipu. This example generally doesn't come in the mind. The example that comes is a foam. We all meet together here like foam on the ocean. The ocean foam that is very, very temporary. It only visible for only any bubble is visible very short time. So we cannot actually find any bubbles actually to touch on the ocean. Okay, they are so transient. So generally the example is given is about the bubbles on the seawater. So transient. But this hotel example which is given in the previous slokas is apt because our main goal here is recreation, enjoyment here. Everything else is secondary. Mother, father, wife, husband, son, daughter, friends, or positions, working, all these are meant for recreation. So therefore, this world is a place similar to the place like a restaurant, hotel, where people come together because that is a place where they get their recreation. And somebody may become friends to another because of coming there for a few times or meeting few times. But that is only secondary. Their main purpose is recreation. So friends may change, but the recreation doesn't change. Recreation goes on. The advancement of Kali Yuga is especially true that people change their wife and husband just like changing the cars. So this propensity is becoming more and more severe in the age of Kali Yuga. So we see in the last sloka, Srila Prabhupada explaining about Sahamarana. So wife and husband are supposed to be one. They say half, better half. So they are considered one body, of which each of their body is a half. So therefore, they are so closely united in the spirit as one, and so much attachment is there to one another that the separation becomes very, very painful. Maybe 100,000 times more painful than the fire itself or the death itself. So therefore, they voluntarily take this Sahamarana to end their separation. Is more painful than the death. Of course, as in Kali Yuga everything degrades, this method also degraded. So people started forcing women to die on the pyre. So there is degradation both in the general society and also individuals. Individuals, they are no more interested to die when their husband die because there is no such close bonding between wife and husband. And society also degraded and forcing just for as a ritual. It is by this Sahamarana is not a ritual. It is a ritual that is to be followed religiously. It is an option for those for whom the fire of separation, the pain of separation is 100 times, 1,000 times greater than the pain of death or pain of fire. So in that pain, that this pain of burning their body is not even noticed. So only those people they are advised to take such not advised, they take, nobody advised to take Sahamarana. They take themselves, they enter, and they seek permission to do that. They beg to allow them to leave the body. So here we are seeing they both want to die, right? Kunti and Madri, both. But the settlement was made, but because the children are there, they are very small, they are not major yet. So at least one of you please stay. So this is Sahamarana, not that people are forcing to take Sahamarana. Just like our, for them the pain of fire is nothing. They don't even observe. They are thinking of their husband and they leave their body with the desire to be united with their husband, follow their husband in the next life. So in that absorption, they don't, this pain is very, very negligible for them. Just like Parikshit Maharaj. Sukadeva Goswami advised, you meditate on Lord Krishna with love and devotion, that you won't even notice Takshaka coming and burning your body. So this is when meditation is there, loving attachment and meditation is there on the beloved. So it is not something torturing, because we have no idea these things. We think it is torturing, and it is done voluntarily by the woman with permission. So, but everything degrades. So that is a problem. So it is right to ban this process in this Kali Yuga, because as soon as the husband leaves, the wife they get married. Similarly, husband also they get married, or even when they are alive, they take divorce and they get married. So therefore, this process has no meaning in Kali Yuga. So there are no takers. So it is right thing to ban, because it only will be misused in Kali Yuga to force this process. So here you see that the queens are crying very, very loudly. The tears gliding down their breasts, becoming reddened by kumkuma powder. The queens began lamenting their husband's death. Husband's death. So they began lamenting very heavily, and this is the end, or this is the conclusion, or this is the destiny. This is the fate of all material life. The material life, material relationships, they end in this tragedy. So this tragedy, as long as we are forgetful of Krishna, we have to pay this heavy price of this shock of losing the most beloved person in our life. So this is the difficulty of the material life, that one has to we try for a soulmate. So the struggle is to get a nice soulmate. But after we get, the real struggle is that we'll be separated one day without any notice, without our permission. So that is very, very painful. More the attachment, more the pain. So either way, a material life is actually a tragedy. If you're not attached, then it is a hell to live together without having attachment. It is like a hellish life. But if you're attached, to be separated is even greater hellish, greater pain. Greater the attachment, greater the pain. So material life, either way we see, it is only going to cause misery. So if one who is intelligent, stay away from material life and take to spiritual life. And this pain is very, very severe because the person whom we love the most, what will happen? You have now been removed by the cruel providence to a state beyond our sight. So we will be removed. The person whom we love will be removed from our sight forever, forever to come. So this is the cruelty of the providence. And it is something not told to us. We have been repeatedly told about this, that life is very uncertain. Life is temporary. All material relationships are temporary. But somehow we don't heed to the advice, the teachings which we hear from, right? Especially in India, these things we hear from childhood. We voluntarily, knowingly accept this material life. So therefore, we are stuck in a tragedy because material life is going to end in tragedy. There is no escape for anybody. Anyone leading material life, tragedy is waiting. Because material life means temporary. Our body is also temporary. Already we have one tragedy, that is this material body. Because jatasya dhruva mrityuhu. So I have to die. That is a tragedy. That is one tragedy. And before I die, I have to see the death and separation of so many people who are very beloved, close. I am attached to. Another tragedy. So one tragedy we cannot avoid, our own death. Death is going to be there. Death is confirmed. This is one tragedy. But other tragedies we can avoid by staying away from the material life. So if we enter, then whom to blame? If we enter into material life, whom can we blame? Nobody we can blame. The example the Shastra gives is that sometimes when we eat, we bite our own tongue or our own lips mistakenly. So when we bite our own tongue, whom will we blame? If it is some other issues, we can blame this person is done wrong to me. This is generally the case. We blame others. This person is wrong. That person is wrong. But for when we bite our own tongue, whom will we blame? We cannot blame anybody. So therefore, this material life, nobody to blame. We cannot blame anybody. It is only out of ignorance. If somebody bite his own tongue and blame others, that is utter foolishness. Similarly, whatever is happening in our life, nobody to blame, only we to be blamed. Because we have accepted the position. And there are repeated warnings from the scripture. Janma mrityu jara vyadi dukkha doshanu darshanam. Krishna is giving a certificate. This material life is Janma mrityu jara vyadhi. So Krishna is giving certificate. This world is a place of suffering, but somehow we are convinced foolishly that I will be somehow happy here. So this is called Maya. Maya means to think that somehow I will be happy through material life, through material connections, through material relations. So our in spite of hearing, our knowledge is covered by lust, desire to enjoy, independent of Krishna. So therefore, unless we fix that one to establish our relationship with Krishna, our material life is only going to bring us tragedy. So therefore, intelligent people, they live. Before it is snatched from you, you renounce. You become mature and renounce before death strikes your beloved, you renounce and take complete shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna, Guru and Krishna. So that way, we can free from this other tragedy. Otherwise, whole life we stay together. So one day, our partner will be, death will strike our partners close, or even to us. So that way we will give pain to our beloved. Just like here, the king who died is giving so much pain to the dependents, wives. So therefore, before such tragedy strikes, one must renounce material life and retire to an ashram where one gets the association of sadhus who remind the loving devotional service to Krishna, who facilitate loving devotional service to Krishna and constantly remind the perils of material life. So these are the only two ways to come out of the material life. One is to constantly remind the perils of material life. Right? It also comes somewhere. How we can, by knowing how we can change our consciousness by constantly hearing the benefits of something better and the drawbacks of something not good. That is the only way. That is how the mind we can convince. So therefore, in the association of the sadhus, one is engaged fully in the service of the Lord, and the glories of the service to the Lord, glories of Lord Krishna, and the happiness of serving Him, and constant reminder not to go back to material life with the perils of material life. And Srimad Bhagavatam is full of these stories, constantly reminding us these perils. We don't take lesson. The story which Hiranyakashipu is giving, this is to let us know the perils of this material life. If you don't want to cry like the queens crying, if you don't want to be a tragedy like the queen's tragedy, or the tragedy like a king who died on the battlefield, dying again and again. If you don't want this tragedy to die again and again, or if you don't want the tragedy to see your most beloved person die, one should retire from family life. One should fully take surrender at the lotus feet of Krishna. So our sadhana bhakti should conclude in this, to take complete shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna, severing all the ties, all material ties. So if we do it ourselves voluntarily, then we will be saved from the tragedy. Otherwise, many tragedies are awaiting us. Every small thing happens to our beloved close person, It gives so much pain, anxiety, misery. So we have to bring this to an end. Should not allow to continue. So the only way is to attain God consciousness, attain the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the spiritual world. That is possible only through the association of the liberated sadhus. Mukta sangasya jayate. So we need liberated persons. In order to attract the complete mercy of the liberated persons, we should retire from material life. Then we will get the full mercy of the Mukta Sangha. We will get Mukta Sangha as well as we get the mercy from the Mukta Purushas. Because how much the Mukta Purusha try to drag us, we again go and stuck there. To take at least one person back to Godhead. He was trying so much. We heard this nice story from Govind Maharaj. So the person is postponing. See, my children are very small. When they grow up, I will come back. Right? Narada Muni once asked, why don't you liberate my Lord? So Lord said, okay, if anybody is ready, please bring them. Narada Muni thought, I have so many people following, I will bring, so many people will come with me. So then he went. Nobody is ready to come. Finally, he thought, there is one person who likes me very much. He will definitely come with me. So Narada Muni was asking, Lord Vishnu has given me this privilege to bring anybody with me to Vaikuntha. Would you like to come with me? Let us go. The person said, no, sir, I have children, they have to grow. Once they are grown, I will get them married, and after that I have nothing. What else I have to do here in this world? I will just come. So Narada Muni went back. So he came back after they are married. And he said, they are just got married. I want to see my grandchildren. I want to play with them. So in this way, it went few times. And one time, the person called Narada Muni to his private chambers and pleaded, Narada Muni ji, why are you after me? Aapko aur koi nahi mila? You didn't find anybody else? Why are you after me? So this is our situation. So the Mukta Purusha, he can help only if we help ourselves. If we cling on to our material life until death, we have to see so many tragedies and we have to cry like this. The queens are crying. They are beating their chests and crying. So this tragedy, if you want to avoid, one must voluntarily give up material life. However comfortable, however devotional it may appear. So we must completely retire from material life, material responsibilities, obligations, so that we are completely free. Our heart is free from the beating for them. Our heart should beat for Krishna. Our heart should beat for a guru. And our heart should beat for the sadhus, Vaishnavas who have sacrificed their life for our growth. So we don't want to reciprocate their sacrifice, but we expect sacrifice from our dependents for whom we have made by our sacrifices. So this is very great dichotomy or it's a contradiction. So we owe to the Vaishnavas, we owe to Sri Guru, who are risking their lives, they have dedicated their lives to bring us this message. And Krishna wants that his representatives served nicely, dedicate to him, and to them Krishna accept us. So this is a wonderful golden opportunity for us in the human form of life. So we can avoid these tragedies. And one tragedy, this death, that also will no more remain a tragedy, because one transcends the death, because he has no more attraction for material life. Even that one tragedy of death will not be death like for others. It will be soothing like a kitten in the mouth of cat, right? For the devotees who are completely dedicated to Krishna. For the devotees, the death is like a kitten in the mouth of cat. But for others, those who are attached to family, those who are attached to the material life, they don't want to give up. For them, the death is like a rat in the mouth of cat. So by taking full shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord, we can fully avoid all the tragedies, material tragedies, including the death. Even the death becomes a stepping stone to enter into the association of eternal association of Krishna. Right? It is by death we enter into eternity. So death becomes a stepping stone to attain eternity. It's a pleasure. Death becomes a pleasure. Those who have given up material life. But otherwise, death is a tragedy, and before we die, there are so many other tragedies waiting for us. And choice is ours. We are all making choice. We are all making choice. We have to make choice. And we have made choices, and we can make choice to change the choices, to make right choice. That is with us. So choose wisely. Choose with divine knowledge, transcendental knowledge, knowledge that liberates us. Transcendental knowledge means knowledge that liberates us, knowledge that keeps us in material life. That is material knowledge. That is not transcendental knowledge. Transcendental knowledge means that transcends us from material life. So with the transcendental intelligence, we must make choice. We should make and we must make choice. And we are already making choices, or will be forced to make choices that will bring tragedies. So this choice is in our hand. Let us make nice choices, nice, good choice, transcendental choice, so that we can be at the lotus feet of Guru and Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Any questions? Kindly come forward.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for this nice class. Yeah, we have 2 questions. Priya Saki Mataji, please. हरे कृष्णा माता जी बोलिए. आपका आवाज सुनाई नहीं दे रहा है माता जी.
Other question, others?
Yes, Ritvik, please.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, can you hear?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Dandavad Pranam. Maharaj, like if a new student is not interested to become full-time, should we encourage him like to become fully surrendered?
No. We will encourage but not force. When somebody is not interested, you will not force. But we will not change the philosophy. right? What is better, it doesn't change, right? Somebody may be able to do, somebody may not be able to do. But we will not change, oh, everything is okay. Anywhere is okay. Everywhere is not okay. But choice is yours. We give the knowledge. Choice is yours. Because devotion is, bhakti is, means love is out of one's free will. We can only tell them what is what. You cannot force anybody. You can force somebody who is very close. Your close friend you can force. Try to force little bit, not very much. Then you will say you are no more my friend. So whatever help you are doing, that is also gone. So if somebody is a close friend, he can force. Like our Guru Maharaj was forced to meet Srila Prabhupada by his friend, close friend, Ramananda Rai, Dr. Rao. He said, if you today don't come to meet Srila Prabhupada, our friendship is finished. So Guru Maharaj was very surprised why this person is so strong for me to meet this sadhu. So Guru Maharaj went and met Srila Prabhupada and he saw the difference. Yes, he is a sadhu, genuine sadhu. And the result is he lost his heart to Srila Prabhupada. He gave his heart to Srila Prabhupada. So in the beginning there may be little, one can force if one is very close friend, provided he takes. Also depends on one's relationship, but sometimes may work, sometimes may turn bitter. In the case of Guru Maharaj, it worked out. If it is somebody else, he would have said, okay, you go to hell. I am not interested in any sadhu. Similarly, Prabhupada also, right? Meeting Bhaktivedanta Thakur. So, friendly coercion is there, little bit we can do. Provided if we are also, if you are also doing, right? We can only force if you are doing. Without you doing, you cannot force others, those who are close. So, friendly coercion, little bit we can do, not to disturb. We should not disturb. We should not take it to a point where one is disturbed. So individually, we should not disturb anybody, but the philosophy, the tattva of material existence, we cannot dilute that. So the very reason one is unable to give material life is because of attachment. But now the reasons may be because of so much knowledge in the scriptures. Now we find the reasons from the scriptures. So one will get what one is looking for, some statement to support. But material life is very, very tragedy. So we can only give knowledge and give choice to others. So we should not force, cannot force. Newcomers, especially when newcomers, why will we force newcomers? Somebody is mature only, we will try to advise some things, not those who are neophytes and those who are just entered. So when they develop attachment for Krishna, when they realize the importance of spiritual life, the distinction of human life, when they're attached to Krishna, when they're attached to you, then you can give advice. When they are mature a little bit, not the newcomers. Why will call newcomers to become full-time? We don't advise anybody to become full-time newcomers. Those who are mature, those who have enough attraction for Krishna. So this giving up will not be lasting if there is no attachment for Krishna. But even if one fails, there is no loss. On the path of devotion, anyone sacrifice anything for Krishna, never going to be a drawback, never going to be a loss for such person. You're only going to gain. We have seen. Somebody give up job, even after 10, 20 years also you can find job easily, no problem, Krishna will arrange. If somebody not married, even after 20, 30 years he can still marry, Krishna will arrange. We have seen people getting married after 50. So where is the question of being lost? Whatever you give up, whatever you sacrifice for Krishna, It is always available for you. Nothing to worry, even better. So on the path of devotion, if somebody takes a little bit courage to do something and realizes later it is not under my capacity, still there is no loss, there is only gain, because at least some period he fully dedicated to Krishna and experienced the life of complete transcendental life without any material obligations. Even if he go back, he will again come back, because he will constantly remember that life of transcendence, fully transcendental life. So therefore, we should not force, we should advise those who are very close to us, those whom we think they value our advice, those who think our relationship is valuable for them. To them we can force, but that also should be careful, because sometimes we may miscalculate. I may think somebody is very close to me, very valuable to me, I may think, but you may not think the same thing. You may not be so valuable as you are thinking. So your relationship also may be in danger. So, but we should explain what is what. Let them make informed choice. But we can also help along the way to retire at right point. At least at 50, we can convince to retire. So that much we can do. We can advise, but we cannot say as you retire from material life or not, it is the same. We cannot say like that. The tragedies are there. You have to undergo. One who is leading material life has to undergo tragedies. Are waiting in tragedies are in waiting. And this is the real suffering of material life. Death is, we think, is one of the greatest suffering, but the real suffering is to suffer the loss of our beloved. So before that happens, we should make Krishna as our most beloved. So then there will be no more tragedies. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Maharaji. Thank you for the answer. Yeah, Nilmada Prabhuji, please.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yes, Prabhuji, please. Hare Krishna. You have two phones?
Yeah, Hare Krishna. I just came out. Hare Krishna Maharaj. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji. Please tell.
Okay, I will explain the scenario, then I will come to question, because it needs some context. So first thing is like, see, when we hear Bhagavatam, all these things, we think, okay, when next opportunity will come, we'll jump. But what happens again back? One thing is, anyway, one side is bad propensities are anyway there in us, but that is different. But mind tricks on good side also, like, okay, they have done for 30, for last 25 years, at least they have worked. So at least on good side also it will trick. Anyway, bad side is there, but good side it will trick. Okay, they have worked very hard, so you have to give something. So even just if we see this life also, it tricks like that. So our mind gets hanged there. So how if you can help out, it will be good. Hare Krishna. So
The Bhagavatam is there to help us. Daily Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya. Daily here Bhagavatam is full of these stories only, no? So by hearing daily, at one time we will develop that. I have nothing to do with them actually.
yeah, that is fact. Of course, but
One day you will realize.
yeah, what is there
They are
is
not
like,
mine. They are not mine, they are Krishna's. You know,
Yeah. Yes.
they are not mine, they are Krishna's. It is only because of false identity I am thinking they are mine and I am them. But it is like a hotel coming together for some recreation. Right? What is family life? Recreation. How the family life starts for recreation. Why people marry? For recreation. Right? So Krishna putting us together for our creation. Nothing more. So actually they belong to Krishna. And Krishna is taking care of them and he will take care of them. Right? This obligation will be there, is natural. Who will not have obligation to those who have given us so much in their life? But transcendental knowledge is that by my giving up, they only benefited more than what I would benefit them. Even materially also. Temporarily it may appear little disadvantageous, but they will be benefited more than what I would benefit directly. Because that is Krishna's. Then that responsibility goes to Krishna. If we give up responsibility for Krishna, then that responsibility will be taken by Krishna. Because one who does good is never ruined. Or a family from which something good comes, that family will hardly be ruined. Right? When I am also becoming full time, I also have a lot of obligations. But I told everything to Guru Maharaj. So Guru Maharaj said, okay, come after 1 year. So one of my god brothers, senior god brother, asked, you have a sister, how will she get married? I told him, Krishna will get her married. And later on we see that it is really Krishna who got her married. And also to a devotee. So, this transcendental knowledge, faith, it comes by reading Bhagavatam, by association of Vaishnavas. That by my giving up somebody, no harm is going to come, especially if it is for Krishna. If you are doing for your personal thing, yes, one cannot give up, right? This dharma, there are different levels of dharma. So Paro dharma is Krishna seva. For that we can give up other dharmas. There will be no harm done to the cause of the people involved. That is the nature of higher dharma or paradharma, especially paradharma. Everybody will be benefited, materially, spiritually, both ways. So that conviction comes. So until that conviction comes, one has to work. One has to work and one will be bound by the laws of work. Because that work which we are doing is for our satisfaction, for the pleasure of some X, not for the pleasure of Krishna. So therefore we have to keep working and that work bind us. So this we getting inspired sometimes, that is a good sign. So we keep listening Bhagavatam. At some point we become mature. And Bhagavatam is expecting at least at 50. Srila Prabhupada is expecting us at least at 50 we become mature. That is expectation of Srila Prabhupada. After 50, nobody should stay in home. One should leave after 50 at least. So therefore, if one is feeling very obliged, unable to give up, it's okay, no problem. But make sure at least you quit at 50. Otherwise, so much energy put into you by so many Vaishnavas, it doesn't bear fruit in this life. Chances are more not to bear the fruit if we don't take initiative from our side. So, but will you be able to give it at 50? That is a question you have to ask for yourself also. Okay, now I am feeling obligation. But at 50, will I be able to come out? Or will I be allowed to come out? How many devotees are allowed to leave home at 50? By the devotee family members. Even devotees, huh? And what to speak about if you land up in marriage with non-devotees. So these are all we have to meditate, because it's your life. Choice is yours. Once you become major, choice is yours. Consequences are also yours. Transcendental decision, transcendental consequence. Material decision, material consequence. But decision is yours. Yadechasi tatha kurum. That is the end of Bhagavad Gita. Whatever you ichha hai, freedom. Whatever you desire, whatever free will you have, you decide. But what Krishna can do is that what action will bring what result. That's what Krishna and sadhus do. And more merciful sadhus, they try to little bit force. If one is intelligent, he will be grateful. Otherwise, he will turn a foe or become angry. So these are there. But sadhu is ready for all these things, just for helping others, helping the humanity. Narada Muni is cursed, but still he tries, even at the risk for himself. So I hope you got some idea. At the end of the day, it's your life. You have to make decision. And you are responsible for your decision, and so therefore the consequences, both material and spiritual. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaji, thank you. Nice discussion. And yeah, there are no further questions, Maharaji. Maybe shall we conclude?
Thank you all for joining. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki,
Jai,
Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki,
Jai,
Guruvara Srila Shripad ki,
Jai,
Jai B.A. Bhakta Vaishnava Vrinda ki,
Jai.
Jai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari.
His Holiness Bhakti Swarup Prajpat Maharaj ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you all for joining. See you all in tomorrow's class.